September 29th, it feels like fall down here in Louisiana. We actually have days that are in the 60s. I think it was 64 this morning. That's something new, and I'm pretty excited about it. That being said, this is the HVAC Grapevine Show, where we talk about all things HVAC and try to bring you some news. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Hughes, and my other friend here, Michael Cianfrocco, down in the swamps of Florida. He's the other co-host.
Swamping it out.
All right, man. Let's bring our best show ever. Here we go.
That's it, baby. Let's fire this thing up.
All right. So,
I'm excited.
you know what? We'll get to the topic of this show, but actually, you know what? Hang on. Let me go ahead and introduce this show's topic, and then I want to talk about what you're doing.
Let's do it.
So, for anybody watching, if you want to come on the show and share your thoughts about anything HVAC, something's bugging you, you don't have an answer to it, you just want to tell a story, you just got something you feel you need to throw out to the world. Tonight is open mic night. We try to do this like once every 4-6 months, something like this, where we throw it out there. Anybody can jump on. No special invite needed. So look for the link in the chat. I'll try to drop it randomly throughout the show so you'd have to go, continually trying to find it. I'll drop it periodically. So if you see that link, you click on that link and then you can log in and we'll let you on the show. Here's the rules. If you come on the show, we're going to limit it to 10 minutes. So when you get on the show, we're going to start a timer. You got 10 minutes to lay down that story, unless it's just amazing. And then we may stretch the time limit.
I'm
with that. Yeah. If we get an influx of people, we're going to keep the ball rolling. So with that being said, if I see somebody pop up, Mike, while you're telling your story, we're going to cut you off and bring the guest in.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
That
so
sounds fun.
I'm excited,
man.
I am too. I hope we get something super juicy.
It's going to be a smoking show.
Speaking of smoking, I see you blowing some smoke. What do you got there?
Yeah, and I'm not just blowing hot air like I was last episode. Got me the smoke ninja.
A smoke ninja. All right, tell me about the smoke ninja.
I asked the boys in the group. I put a post in the HVAC Facebook Grapevine, group. There's so many devices out there, So I think it was Burns saying, dude, everybody jumped in. Everybody's so helpful. So somebody said the smoke ninja, and there was another home performance guy that has like a discount on this. It's pretty nice, man. I got the starter kit. I should have went with the full blown thing because I had to make my own little. They gave me a tube, right? So you're doing a blower door. You can hit up windows, whatever you want to do. You get into the gaps and cracks, right? But then I had to make my own, dude. Had to rig it. The sponge helps, man. Hang time. Check this out.
Yep.
Not sponsored, all right? Look at that. Dude, that's pretty cool, man. It kind of hangs. So then it's got another setting. Let's see if I can get it zoomed in. Let's see here. Get some light on the situation. So it's got 3 settings for different types of, strength. They got steam, What do they got here? Fog, dry ice, and steam. So pretty nice. I'm digging it.
Wait. Say that again. It's got steam and dry ice. What is the difference between the settings?
It's got so fog is what I got it on now. I like, I'm doing a blower door. I want that stuff thick. I want hang time to like really be in there. And like if I get a cup, let me get my shot glass. You ready for this? Check this out. It'll just hang in there. Check this out. That's pretty
cool.
It's pretty thick,
That's pretty cool. Yeah, just drink it. What's it smell like?
It ain't bad. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's probably food grade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're totally safe, man. Just drink it.
That's probably the propylene glycol I was vaping for a couple years back. So, but yeah, man, I needed one. Checking these houses out with spray foam and stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta I gotta amp it up. Like my buddy's house. I went there. He had spray foamed the entire house, and I dropped it into YouTube. Yeah, glycerin. Yep.
You said it's oil based or glycerin based?
Yeah,
Good question.
maybe like a vegetable glycerin. Yeah, I got about 120 mils with this. It's pretty good.
Cool.
But my buddy is building he totally gutted a house, right? 1,500 square foot. I popped it in the group. We did a blower door. He's got almost all the sheetrock up. So I wanted to be in there before any sheetrock went up. But you know how things go in new construction, and remodels, right? So I get in there, and we're shooting for like 400 CFM 50, right?
Right.
He wants to go super tight. I actually got all my notes on the whiteboard here. I ran the load calcs for him.
Yeah.
So we were looking at 350 CFMO leakage. He was looking at like 21,000 BTUs. So we got him a 2-ton. And the TAM 10, I could tell the thermostat what tonnage to go down from a 2-ton to a 1-ton. So I figure let's do the preliminary blower door. Train.
Oh, no joke. They got one.
I could tell it to go. I got the 2-ton.
I got
tell the thermostat to throw the BTUs all the way down to 1,200 BTUs.
And you can lock it, right?
I can lock it in. Yeah. To get out of there, you have to reboot the entire system. So,
dang.
But it's cool stuff. So we got about 1,000 CFM 50. I was a little upset. So this guy's got home, man. My friend Taylor gets plastic. He starts going over every sliding glass door. Now he's got 4 sliders.
Wow.
They're pretty big.
On a smaller house? That's a lot of. Is that how you do it in Florida? Just sliding glass doors everywhere?
Slide it up. So I did not know this. He taped up everything. We got it down to 840, bro.
Oh, by taping up the windows?
Taping
or just
up
the doors?
Just the sliders.
Wow.
So the leakage on sliding glass doors is absolutely insane compared to a regular standard window. Because you got all new windows, man. So,
have you seen those hurricane videos? You had to be watching those on your feed, right?
Bro, we were just me and the wife were just watching nonstop.
Yeah, it's better. It's like the best thing to watch on TV right now. It's like it's insane. It's like you don't see stuff like that, and you can see people. What I don't get is now I do get this, but it's the storm surge.
Yeah,
I've lived through hurricanes. And I've seen video footage through hurricanes, but I have never seen footage from hurricanes where people are filming the front of their house, and it doesn't look like they live on the beach, but out of nowhere, they go from no water to wham, and they're hit with like 4 foot of water, just smacks their house. And I'm just like, I have never seen anything like that.
It's crazy. The West Coast got hit bad, bro. Let's see.
Now, how much of Florida got hit? I mean, did it like hit Key West and just tear things up all the way up, or did it literally just hit a pocket and then go up?
I was watching it when it was down by Cuba, and it was nothing. I was like, we got nothing to worry about here. Everything's fine, right? So then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it started to just like, oh, here we go. It started corkscrewing.
Yeah,
and then I think by the Keys,
I thought it was going to be a Cat 2. And then
I thought it was going to be tropical storm, dude, when it was over by Cuba. And then it organized right after the Keys, I think. I could be wrong.
That's how I seen it. It went from like 2 to 4 like that. It was quick.
And it skimmed the West Coast. So that storm surge I heard was like top 5. And Tampa got a storm surge. There was a couple of Keys closer up to where the bend is in the Peninsula of Pain. And they got slammed with surge, dude. Crazy.
Now, I know that's bad. It's bad, man. I'm just watching the videos. But what's crazy to me is in all my life, I don't remember such a hurricane making so much damage all the way up.
Bro, me neither.
Asheville, North Carolina
is... Dude, we were just there, and it's like...
I know.
Dude, the roads are gone, bro.
I know. Me and my wife were just talking about it. She actually went to while
Woo!
we were doing the conference. She drove up to what's the name of that town where there it's something Rock, right? I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, over by the Biltmore area.
Yep, and
Okay,
and basically it's gone. Like
it's
everything
gone.
is gone. It's like
Yeah, bro.
whole town's gone. It's
And you know
wild.
what's funny? The funny thing is, there was a hurricane when we were there. The one previous that kind of
Yep,
like hit. Did it hit
yep.
hit by you in Louisiana? Right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't develop into too much, so no big deal there.
Yeah,
But
but
you're right.
still,
Yeah,
this thing picked
yeah,
up out of nowhere, bro. I was like sweating
yeah.
bullets when we were up there.
You know what? I wish someone would come on the show, or we could find someone to come on the show. If anybody knows anybody who's got this level of expertise, I would kill to have this person on the show.
A meteorologist?
No, a an accountant, but not just any accountant. Someone who deals with the federal funding of FEMA money and how the money gets distributed and how can we economically survive such a disaster
Yeah,
financially as a country. And
dude.
it's happening everywhere and everywhere, and I just fundamentally don't understand the level of debt that every storm does to the country. How do we survive that?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It's nuts. It really is, man. I mean, it was devastating what it did. The roads all the way up there. And I think it's because I did a little research when we were up there. I was like, this is beautiful. This is weird.
Yeah, you
Those
were like, I'm out of here. I'm coming
yeah,
up
yeah.
here.
Those Blue Ridge Mountains, I think basically like it was like a 90 in ductwork. It was like it just kind of
Yeah.
just
Oh,
took
it's nice.
all the
It
water.
was fine, man. I went to the Biltmore
Oh, you did?
while we were there. Yeah, I mean the rolling
Nice.
hills behind it. They were man. It looked like a painted landscape. It was fine. I
Yeah.
hadn't seen it. I've been to a lot of mountains in my life. I went to Yosemite. I've been to uh, Gatlinburg, all of that. And I'm just telling you, man, the view behind the Biltmore was up there, like with
Really? Wow.
top 10 for
It
sure.
was it was gorgeous,
Something.
man. Driving up there was pretty. I've never
Yep.
been. That was the first time. Thank
All right.
you, Adam from Overtime, for getting me out of the house, man.
Oh yeah.
NCI. It was a great time.
So Tony, and if you don't know, this is a guy who makes quite a bit of content, pretty good content too.
Oh
He's on
yeah,
LinkedIn a lot.
Tony.
His office got hit hard. I think he's somewhere near Asheville, and he showed a picture of his building, and it was super flooded.
I
So
did see that. That's
I hope everything works out for that guy.
yeah.
That's
My heart's
man.
going out to you guys.
Yep.
That's
Oh look,
that's tough.
look, my wife's in the chat. Chimney Rock.
Hey,
That's what
Big
got
J.
We got
Big
our
J's
viewer,
in the chat.
room over. Um. All right. So switching gears. All right. Just to let everybody know, banner's running. Jump in if you want to. All right. So switching gears. I want to show a picture and I want to talk about it. Let's see.
Let's talk about it. A little coffee talk.
Yep. Gotta remember how to do this.
Who's in the chat? Oh, Mikey's in here. What's up, Mike? Tom.
Let's see.
Yeah, did I shoot that to you?
Dude.
There she is, baby.
Okay. Now this is newsworthy right here. And this is going to be a hot topic for us.
Yeah,
Mike,
for you
this
dyking
is-
guys.
This is your picture, bro. What the heck is going on here?
Dude, it would not fit up in the attic, man. So that blue chalk line is, ran
You
a
popped-
little chalk.
You popped the chalk line. Nice.
Pop the chalk.
Like you're you
We're
popped the
cutting
chalk
wood.
line like you're literally sawing a piece of 3/4 plywood.
Yeah.
All right, so what type of equipment am I looking here? It looks like I know you're a train guy, so a train, but that doesn't look to be the metal panel. That looks to be, is that a TAM 9?
So that is the same cabinet as a TAM 9. Let's see. That is also in a shoot. Well, let me get to it. That's a GAM 5, I believe. So it's the same basically cabinet on all of those Hyperion. They call them Hyperion
Yeah,
cabinets.
it's a foam insulated cabinet.
Yep. So
Yeah,
the
okay.
outside, if you can remember a refrigerator, the
Yep.
outside's got that thin metal where you could barely put on like like your daughter's, art with a little magnet on there. It's just,
Hmm.
it's thin, right? And you got
Yep.
foam. Then on the inside is like a modular resin. So on this particular area where I got it chalked off, it's got real thin metal, and I just used a multi-tool. You could use angle grinder. Um,
You used a double-sided shear, the
I,
power
we,
tool.
dude, I was gonna use that powered
I was gonna
shear.
say, wouldn't that take like an eighth or quarter inch chunk of metal, and that's gonna leave you where putting it back together, it's not. You're gonna have a girth of metal missing.
I was going for it, man, but I was like, I couldn't. We got it started, and I was like, I can't get it in there, so we abandoned
Yeah,
the. Yeah, that would have been
that
nice,
didn't seem.
but
That
it
would be
goes
yeah.
too deep, man. That would be too deep. So all you
Yeah, I
need,
don't
we
think
we
that'd
use
be
the
the right
multi
tool
tool.
for that one.
No, it
When you
wasn't.
say a multi-tool, you mean like a little
The
angle grinder?
little oscillator with the little,
Oh,
for like
really?
drywall.
Have you ever seen Milwaukee's little miniature grinder? It plugs in with a 12-volt battery. It's got
Oh
a little
yeah,
wheel on it.
yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
used to have
That
one
would,
of
dude.
those.
That would be perfect.
That would be perfect. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad little tool. I used to use that periodically. You know what I did with it? Don't I did plumbing for a little while. That was attached to a family company. We had plumbing and heating.
Yeah. Oh, that's
When
right.
I
Forgot about that.
when I would set toilets, I would take that little angle grinder and I would nick off the end of the bolts. it worked.
Oh,
It
dude,
worked
that's
good
a
for that. Yeah.
good idea. I still do
Yeah.
once in a while. I'll throw a
Yep.
toilet in,
Yeah.
when my
Yeah.
back
Why-
my
yeah.
back's feeling okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
dude,
I even had
there's
a.
no worse feeling when you put those little caps on and they just don't fit.
I even tried. I always try to come up with like a little random invention and try to sell it, and make money. But
You're always a 2 for 1 guy.
yeah, I tried to invent. Whenever you install a toilet, man, we're getting way away from HVAC, but it's all right. When you install a toilet, there's all the water in the P trap, and
Yeah.
so you literally. So for anybody who's never changed a toilet, literally you kill the knob that feeds the water to the toilet, and then you
Hmm.
flush it and you hold the button down. That gets you most of all the water out of the toilet, right?
Right.
That's how you try to drain it. But you're never going to get all of it. Some people take a plunger and they'll try to plunge the rest of the water down the toilet. I mean, you do what you can do. Then typically what you'll do is some people will lay out a garbage bag, lift the toilet up, put it in the garbage bag, and pick it up with the garbage bag in the toilet. Because if you rock the toilet, some of the water is going to go down into the garbage bag. Anyway, that's how we used to do it. That way we get it out of the house with no mess.
For
But
me, I'm in Florida. I got a lot of those walk-in showers. So just take the
oh
toilet,
yeah,
bring it into the shower,
you
shake it
just
a little
dump it.
bit, right in the shower.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Uh, so I wanted to invent not reusable, a one-time use silicone plug that you basically would stick to the floor,
Hmm.
and it would be kind of like shaped like like a
Yeah.
I don't know,
Okay.
like cone
Gotcha.
shape.
Like a
And you lift
balloon
it.
or
Yeah,
whatnot. Yeah.
you lift the toilet, you set it on the silicone plug or whatever. It pops into the bottom of the toilet and creates a seal.
That's
And
awesome, bro.
now you just walk out with a toilet and it doesn't leak. And I'm like, man, why don't we have these? And maybe we do have these, and I've just never seen them, but I don't think we have them. And I'm
So
thinking that would be
somebody
a nice
made,
little tool.
dude. That's a good idea, bro. Because somebody come up with a disposable gel bag where you just dump it in and it like gels out like a diaper.
Oh, well, that's
And
smart.
then
Yeah, I like the
and
idea
then
of that.
Milwaukee did a oh geez, one of those little battery powered vacs. You just pump it out, with the stick vac.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting.
but yeah, getting back to the Hyperion air handler, you crack that metal and then you get the ends. It, dude, just separates, bro.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Way better than folding a metal air handler.
All right,
Way better.
So I'm gonna share one more slide. Let's see. Hang on.
Slide it up.
Window. Here we go.
Not sponsored by Train either. Thank you.
No, I'm pretty sure they don't want to see this, or maybe
No,
they
that,
do. I
yeah,
don't know.
no, they don't need me.
All right, man. So you literally, man, I'm gonna tell you what. That's a clean cut. I gotta
And
hand
that-
it to you, bro.
thank
That's
you, bro.
impressive. Like, I was kind of expecting that air handler to have some dents in it or something like
Little-
that, but you cut that thing pretty smooth.
And that's for the multi-tool. I wish I had that device you were talking about, the little small grinder, dude. That's perfect. All you need is like a 1/4 inch down. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cut a
heck yeah,
Hyperion in half to
dude.
get it in the attic.
I should have took a picture of this attic access. It
You
was an
should have.
attic
Because I'm
access.
thinking to myself, why, man, why not just switch to a different piece of equipment that you could maybe, you've seen us fold them and push it through and then
Yeah.
put it. Although I do not. Here's what I'll tell you, man. In all of my career, I never did that. Not
Oh,
once.
you never folded one?
I never gutted an air handler completely
Because
and then
you're a
folded.
blessed man. Good for you. God
I,
bless
I
you.
guess I'm just lucky, man, but I never had to fight that battle.
Oh, dude, folding. I just hate it, man. I hate
I
it.
mean,
This, bro.
I'm a little concerned though, because here's my concern.
What are your
How
concerns?
do you put this back together? And
All
how do
right.
you hold the integrity of that back together? I mean, did you put like a metal band strip and then screw it on both sides that way that it stays tight, then mastic tape it? Or I mean, how do you put
Okay.
this back together?
So with the RTFM on this, there is little dimples in the back, right? For
No
self
way.
tap.
It
Yes.
tells you can cut it.
Oh
No
yeah.
way.
I mean, this is all legit, bro. So
No way. You're
yeah,
telling you're telling me that the manual says you can split their air handler down the middle.
this is in the manual, bro. So
Dude,
there's
that's freaking
dimples.
wild.
I love it, dude. So when you crack this clamshell, it's got a little like tongue and groove.
No
And,
way.
and actually, that GAM 5, that got me. That sucker got me bad, dude.
Wow, man. You're
Woo.
telling me so like are you telling me the foam is tongue and grooved?
Yeah, there you go, bro. That's it. So there's the male side, and
Wow.
the other side's got a nice little. It's got a nice little spot, man.
Look at
There's the
that.
foam. Yeah,
That is dude, that's interesting. I
yeah.
just learned something new.
You could throw a little foam in there. What we did was we silver taped the inside, we silver taped the back side, and then we put what did
Yeah.
we put duck strap on the back, and I just lined the whole back, and then
Yeah.
silver taped the other, the whole thing. So
Dang,
and
dude.
we
That's
left the
wild.
blower housing intact. I was able to get it up there just kind of get it in there like a C,
Yeah.
through the attic. So now that's all solid. And then if you zoom in the top there for me, please.
You
And
got
you
it, man.
go up, and then right there is a locking clamp with an Allen key, and it's just
I see that.
boom. You just lock the blower housing. Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, it's nice. And this is their basic unit. So if there's guys out there that are afraid of the EEV, guys are still gun shy. They don't want to pull the trigger on EEVs.
So House says if it's meant to come apart, why did you have to cut it?
Oh, right. He housed me.
I mean, it's a good comment, but
Yeah,
I mean that's definitely a worst case scenario situation right there, man.
yeah. This
I mean,
is it's meant to be for an attic install or a tight
man, I'm gonna
crawl
tell you,
space.
y'all do things different in Florida. I'm sorry, I'm cutting no
This-
air handlers in half.
I know, right?
Not doing it.
It was cake, bro. It was a cakewalk.
So it was easy.
It was
Interesting.
easy, bro. It was really easy. I mean, granted, what did we have to take? We had to take a couple of brackets out. Oh, whoop-de-doo, so.
Yeah. I mean, I would do it. I think I'd be intimidated though, because like you're promising somebody this piece of equipment. It's very expensive. You
Yeah.
got to cut it in half. You got to warranty whatever you do. That would kind of freak me out.
She's solid, man. You know what it is? It's
Trust
that
you, bro.
it's
Trust.
that tongue and groove when it slips in, and then you've got the blower housing has the two clamps.
Yeah.
Dude, it's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. The whole back end
Yeah. You did what you had
self-tapping
to do.
screws with
Was
metal
there-
strap.
I mean, was there any other way to get it in there? Like, was the homeowner like saying, "No, we're not going to make a bigger attic access. Not going to happen." I mean, I'd be curious to how that job got sold.
Yeah, so it was beautiful. They were on vacation, and they didn't get to hear everybody go, "What the heck we gonna do?"
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got you.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was a friend of mine. He was on site, and they've never done that before. So I remember reading the manual in the past, and we can crack them. And basically, the attic access, I've never seen anything like this before. you had the builder made like 15-foot ceilings. So the garage was the same height as the indoor, maybe a little bit more. And for some odd reason, they made it like a step down 2 foot of wood to put this, put the whole, the wooden attic access in
Mhm.
there. I have no idea. Dude, it was the most uncomfortable trying to get that C in there. This damn camera. It's moving again. The Italian hands.
All right,
But
I've
but
got an
yeah.
electrical question. Now, we've got a few people in here and I'm just curious to hear people's electrical thoughts. So, I've got a struggle on my hands. Uh, it's not HVAC, but it's electrical, and this is a personal situation, and it has to do with my boat. So, so I bought a radio off of Amazon and I put it in, and I have very little experience of putting radios in, but it's like can't be that hard, right? Like when you come from the HVAC
Easy
background, you've
peasy.
wired up all kind of stuff. So I dug through the literature. You've got wires that go to the speakers. You got your plus, your minuses, right? And then the radio has three wires that mainly need to be hooked up. There is a plus 12, there's a ground, and then there's an ACC, which the way I understand ACC
Is
is,
that ignition?
yeah, it's like the ignition.
Okay.
Well, the way it works is plus 12 goes to the radio, and that keeps the radio powered up. So it keeps its, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Keeps its settings. And then ACC is what actually like lets the radio actually turn on and use its other functions. And that's
Okay.
so it doesn't drain the battery, right? It's like a two-part process.
It turns it on, turns it off.
Yep. So
Okay.
I literally ran wires and handled up on everything, and I have a checked with a meter or RTFM. I checked with a meter, and I had plus 12 and ground confirmed coming up through the dash, right? So I have those two wires. And I thought, well, I'm going to use a toggle switch to turn this radio on and off. So I don't need a plus 12 all the time, keeping the radio hot, keeping settings. I'm not going to use it for that. So I wired the ACC and the plus 12 together to my plus 12 coming to the radio as one.
Okay.
And then it blew the fuse on the radio. There's a 10 amp fuse on the radio. It popped immediately.
Oh, so maybe it's only meant to be a trigger, like
I
when
don't
you.
know. I don't
You know,
know. I've scratched my head. I played with it yesterday, and I
it's
played
been
with
too
it
long for
today.
me.
And I'm thinking like I'm trying to figure out what I think I have a bad radio, a bad brand new radio. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, man, is this one of those situations like when you're out in the trade and you get a bad brand new part? You know what I mean? Like, God forbid it's a
Bro,
compressor. We've
bro.
all been there at least once. If you've been in this trade long enough to where you put a new compressor in, you turn it on, you've already put all the refrigerant to it, and it doesn't run. I don't know if there's more of a gut wrenching moment than that.
It's
That's the
yeah,
worst.
especially with a compressor.
Yeah.
Dude, I called my
That,
service manager when I was like 3 years in a trade. And I told him, I was like, Richard, I've been here for 2 hours with this blower motor. I don't know why it doesn't work. And he goes, it could be a bad motor right from factory. I was like, dude, it's brand new. No, it can't be broken. And then like a light bulb went off, and I go, oh shit. Just because it's brand new doesn't mean it works.
so
And that was a lesson, man.
so AJ, I think this is AJ. AJ, if yeah, you should come on here, man. I know you're a boat guy. AJ's from like way further down south, man. He built his own boat, like from
South
scratch.
Shore?
Yeah, like way, way, way
South
down
Shore.
south. So he says if you put 12 volts to each separately, does it still blow? Yes. So if
Oh, it does.
I took just the ACC wire because the
Hmm.
ACC is what's going to power everything up, like to really make it work. I think, and I went ACC to plus 12 feeding the radio. No plus 12 wire from the radio even in play. I just had it dangling off to the side. Wired it up, popped it immediately. So I
Oh,
went through
yeah.
a couple of fuses here. I and
China.
I had all the wires disconnected from the radio that go to the speakers. So I was down to just 3 wires. I didn't disconnect my ground because I had checked it with a meter and I was like, well, I got my ground and I'm going to need a ground for it to probably power up. So I left it connected. Uh, but I only had 2 wires connected. Now I can wire in the plus 12 red wire and the ground, and the radio will not even power up or do anything. So, and he's saying, yeah, it sounds like a bad radio. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a bad radio.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know, man. It's like I don't do a lot with DC and I don't do a lot with radios. So it just kind of like was curious to know if I was on the right path there or not. But I think
Yeah, dude.
yeah, that's what
I remember that for the rest of my career, man. Just because it's new doesn't mean it works.
I know. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think the only time that happened to me,
Especially with the quality control these days, man.
do you remember Ream when Ream came out with that enormous 4 and 5 ton condensing unit that had like 2 fans and this thing was like 7 foot long. It's a beast.
A
You remember those?
double fan ream air handler? Really?
Yes. Yeah, it was out. It was a very short lived product from what I can remember, but I changed it for a stint. I think they had a Bristol in it, and I think the one I'm remembering a job where I put the Bristol in and it didn't start, and I
Okay.
want to say it was a 4 ton ream, and it was one of those 7 footers where it had like it looked like a commercial 10 ton, dude. It was huge, uh,
Damn.
and I think it had a Bristol compressor in it, and I replaced it and it didn't start.
Ooh.
It was monster, dude. If you know
It
what,
hurts. I mean, dude, it
I'm gonna
happened to
see,
me last
I'm gonna
last
see if I can find
month.
a picture of one of those because if you haven't seen that, it's something to see.
I think I was on TY Banana Man show. I was talking about it. Yeah. I was on Ty's show. I love the HVAC, right? What happened? We were talking about compressors, and then the next day I did a compressor, and dude, marbles right off like the first second, you know?
Yeah.
And I found out that there are some compressors that blow and they throw shavings into the suction line. So it's either my compressor was DOA on arrival or it just sucked up the rest of the old compressor shavings, man. Like off of the
Oof.
yeah, dude, bad. I watched a video where a guy took a magnet and he put it to the suction line and you hear ding 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 and he's like pulling like all the scroll. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, and I was making videos. I'm like, "Oh, I'm ready to get it going." Brr. I'm like, there's nothing worse than like spending time doing the right procedure, pulling a vacuum, pressure testing, and that thing just dies on me,
So
man.
here's a fun topic since we don't have anything crazy pressing, man, for this show. This is kind of a fun night for us just to chat. I'll tell you a wild story. And this one is about phosgene gas.
A
Like the
little
one
little fagine.
yeah, this is the one time I almost didn't make it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't even think I heard this story, man. You're holding out on me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember it, very well. Like I don't bring it up all the time because nobody
Yeah.
asks. But there was a situation where it was me and my dad. We were working on in a big 6-story building, and each floor had its own water source compressor driven package unit, right? Cooling towers on the roof,
Okay.
feeding condenser water down below.
Gotcha.
Each large, I think it was the
Was
middle
it
floors were
residential?
30 tons. The bottom tour, I think the bottom floor was a 30 ton, and then it was like 40 ton,
Oh.
40 ton, 40 ton, and I think the top floor was a 40 or 50 ton, something like that. The compressor, so it was about a 40 ton unit.
Oh my god.
And we were on the second floor replacing a trained semi-hermetic 40 ton compressor. And I remember for some reason on this job as well, we were changing when you change a compressor, you're also changing the canister core dryers and all that. But for some
Yeah.
reason, the muffler had to come out on this job. I don't remember
Okay.
why, but the muffler had to come out. And man, that thing it's in there and it's way in the back. Like this air handler's in a mechanical closet.
Okay.
And to get the muffler out, which everything's piped down below, it's these units are pretty big, but they were probably disassembled to some degree or set
Mm-hmm.
during construction, right? They didn't come through the front door put together. They're that big. But when you go into the door, there's this big air handler, and there's only like about a foot, maybe 2 foot on the right side of this big air handler. So I snake around the back with a torch, right? And I'm going to take the muffler off. Now this thing has no refrigerant in it,
Right.
right? Like we're
Yeah,
doing our
it's
best,
empty, right?
but yeah. And I'm unsweating the muffler because we got to replace it. I can't remember if I don't remember the story why, but the muffler was bad. But I remember pulling that muffler out, and when I did, dude, it just shots of like just kind of a quick flash of flame, uh, probably a little oil or whatever, kind of everywhere. And I'm kind of like laying down on my side because there's not a lot of room to work back there. And I
Right.
just remember getting hit with just a monsoon of phosgene gas.
You
And
get
I
you
just
did you get to see like that cloud?
well, no, I just remember it hit me, and I just remember like swallowing it, and I just remember coughing,
Oh,
coughing, coughing, and I couldn't catch my breath, and the room had kind of filled up with it.
dude, you got it. You
I mean, I got it to the point like I started back crawling out of that pocket, and by the time I got out and around the back, I couldn't even stand up on my own 2 feet. And so my dad literally
Ooh.
grabbed me. And at this point, I was kind of blacking out, right? Because I'm having trouble, like, just concentrating. And luckily, we were on the second floor. So there was a doorway because I thought I was going to puke. There was a doorway that took you out to this breezeway to outside. And basically, man, I'm in bad shape. And we go
Oh
out,
man.
we go out to this breezeway, and I'm like literally laying on the ground, and he's like got something, he's waving it in front of me trying to keep me cool, and I'm just like just trying to catch my breath, man. But I mean, I was blacking out from it, and I was
Oh,
coughing every breath. It was one of the worst experience I have ever felt. Like, you hear about it your whole life in the trade, you're like, man, you don't want to get hit with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It'll take your breath away, it'll kill you.
Yep.
And you don't think it'll happen to you till it happens to you, and then when it happens,
It's
you're just
like
like,
when
whoa.
somebody punches you right in the gut, like right in the diaphragm, and you lose like all the air. Or if
Yeah,
you ever played football and somebody tackles you from behind and knocks you to the ground, you go,
I'll tell you what, man, it was
you
bad
just
stuff.
lose it. You can't. Yeah, I remember sweating in the compressor. I was
If
like, man, I can't.
if you ever get hit that hard, you'll never forget it. And
Yep.
then every time you do a job that even remotely puts you in a confined space, you'll think about it again.
Yeah, buddy.
Like, I remember after that, we kind of started trying to run like a protocol that says, hey, if you're in a confined space, you bring a fan and you run a duck off that fan, uh, and you exhaust that room while you're working. Like, you need to
Yeah.
have some way to, like, you know, either bring in air or move air out. There had to be a strategy. That way you wouldn't just be engulfed in a situation like that.
And now knowing what you know now, would
Yep.
flowing a lot of nitrogen through there would that purge a lot of that out of the compressor,
That's a
or
good
or
question.
or would you cut it out? Because
I
for what you were telling me, you sound
yeah.
like you were trying to sweat her out.
I if I could do it again,
Yep,
I'd
I'd go
probably
to
cut it out.
college.
I
No, I'm sorry, man.
I wouldn't. I'd still be in debt from that, man.
But you would
I
you would cut her out.
I'd cut it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I even from that one experience, I started cutting a lot more stuff out. And here's the
Heck
deal.
yeah,
Here's the deal. You're
I'm
always
down
looking
with
for
that.
that. You're looking for that easy move, and I totally get that. But when you start
Right.
getting into the bigger stuff where you've got like inch and 3/8 copper lines you're working with, and I remember doing this a lot on. A train has those condensers where you have like two 30-ton compressors that are side. Oh, I'm sorry. They're like the ones I'm thinking of. They're like a 15-ton compressor and a 15-ton compressor, and the suction line and discharge line are laced, right? They split right at the compressor and go into these two. Usually there's two on one side, two on
Yeah.
the other. It makes a big
Yep.
condensing unit. And I was famous for like unbolting the compressor, heating it up, and we would walk the compressor back to get the suction line to come out so we could walk the next compressor in, make it easy, tap it in, tap, 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 get some really good solder. You know that solder that comes coated? It's got flux on it
Oh
automatically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
First off, that stuff's phenomenal in this
Is
situation.
it? I've
Oh
never
god,
tried
yeah.
that. Okay, okay.
It's very expensive.
I'm
If I
still learning
remember,
stuff.
I think I paid. This was a couple years ago, but I think I paid like $300 for 9 sticks. That's how expensive it was. I remember being like, "Whoa,
Wow.
yeah!" Like that was super expensive.
Doug,
But
Chris's one of his kids made that.
oh yeah, thanks, Doug. Yeah, my little girl painted that. Yeah, so
Yep. Yeah.
awesome sauce.
Oh, here you go,
So,
Doug. This is for you, buddy, right here.
so, and I used to, and look, if I had this much left of the stick, you better believe I kept it. There was a safe spot in my torch rig where that little
Right?
leftover piece of that stick went because it was awesome. The reason it was awesome is because these compressors will have they would have steel right coming out, and then you're going copper to steel. That's not a fun weld to make.
Oh,
And
okay,
first off,
right.
you're taking out a piece of copper that you just unsweated, so it's not pretty, right? You're trying to clean it up, but it's never like
And
perfect
what
new
size
copper
copper are
sanded
we
down.
looking at here? It's like what,
Oh man, that's probably
inch
inch
and a
and
half?
5/8, inch and 5/8,
Oh,
maybe
man.
inch and seven, something up there in that ballpark. I mean, it's big. And then
Wow. No thanks,
you,
bro. I'll stick to
if,
my
unless
residential.
now you can try the paste and that works okay, but I'm
Right.
just here. I'm preaching to the choir, man, here because I've done it. If you are in that situation where you've got a big compressor and you've got uh, steel coming out and you've got to weld to that with copper, go get you one of those sticks of solder for that are very expensive.
Yeah.
It won't take but one stick, man, and it does this weird. It just it like shoots like almost looks like a firecracker going off when you're like using it. But man, when that solder starts to flow, it makes this crazy like orangey color when it does it. It will make a bond like you ain't never seen. It's phenomenal stuff.
Nice.
It got
I
me out of
like
it
it.
one time.
Wake
But
you up a little bit.
yeah, but going back to when I cut it out, yeah. My earlier days, I definitely sweat them in to make my life easy because it's all about time, speed, money. We all know that.
Yeah.
But then I got started getting smarter, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go buy some fittings, and I would treat it like a four-way valve. I would just go in and cut the four-way valve out inches back, and then get the part out, and then unsweat the part I need from that. Like I would basically go back a foot or wherever I needed to, and I would just make my cuts, then get the compressor out,
Yeah.
right? And then I would kind of do some measurements so I know where it lines up. Then unsweat it very easily out in the open. Put it in the new compressor, sweat it in. I would take my couplings and I would sand the tits in the couplings out. That way they would freely slide all the way back. Put the compressor in place, slide the coupling over, copper welds from there. That's the right way to do it.
Now listen, I'm you brought
That,
something up that like if I'm working with other guys in a trade, right? And they
yep.
start I'm doing 7/8. You know, this is compared to what you're doing, what you're talking about, this is peewees, right? 7/8 copper, not a big deal, right?
It's all the
And
same game.
I'm sanding the inside of the copper. I'm sanding the outside. And some of the guys in the trade, you know, hey Mike, bro, you're doing too much. What's your thoughts on 7/8, 3/8? I sand it, bro. Look at Michael House. Look at him in the comments.
Yeah, I know, man.
I
You
can't
got
say
me with
that.
Yep, you got to
That's
stand them down if you want them to slide, man.
you,
That's the name of the game. It's the truth. I've done that many a times. So, are you telling me? Do you need to sand your copper?
well, for me,
You
I'm
know,
not going to change my ways, man. I'm 20 years in. I'm sanding everything,
yeah.
bro. I like it clean.
Um,
When I put that solder on, it just flows, bro. I mean, I'm gonna leave it crusty like the Statue of Liberty, bro. No thanks.
Now, I will
You
tell
know?
you like this: for those who maybe have not soft soldered, try getting away with a dirty piece of copper, and it
Right.
ain't even got to be dirty. It
There
could
you
be
go.
if you ain't sanded that thing to make it shine like a brand new
Right?
penny,
It just
forget it. It ain't
rolls
gonna
right
happen.
off.
Yeah, soft solder is It's not, it. I was very, very good at soft soldering inside of our company, and I had a lot of guys who were intimidated by it. They did not like to do it. They would kind of walk away from it and be like, "Look, man, that's not my bag." But I would reiterate and say it's not hard at all. It's all about the prep. If you prep it really, really, really good, and then they make a paste for that too, and you paste it up and you put it together. I think it's personally easier than hard solder. I think
Oh,
so.
okay. All right.
I
Yeah.
think so. It's
There's a,
fun personally. I enjoy soft
I think
soldering.
there's a lot of prep in plumbing. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
prep. Got to be super clean.
yeah. And now everything's press this, press that, and I like. I
I
mean, don't get
know.
me wrong. That's nice. It is nice, but man, it's
But what
nothing
is
like.
that? $75 for a fitting? You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, PEX pipe's not. I wouldn't say too expensive.
Oh
When
yeah,
I built my last house, I pixed everything out. It's hard to beat, man. It's speed.
it is.
Um,
It's quick.
it's fast. It spins even after you crimp it. That's pretty nice. I mean, it's got its ups and downs, but
You don't have to worry about like the copper here, man. My neighbor just got slab leak, and it's just it's the chlorine in the water, all the minerals in the water. Just he's getting little pinholes.
yeah,
So
House said he was really good at soft soldering too, but it's been years.
yeah,
Yeah, House, I'm with you, man. I
with
if
the
I
pro
miss
press, man.
if I miss anything from my days of getting busy, it was soft soldering, dude. I enjoyed that. That was a ton
Yeah,
of fun. I
it
my
was like
one of
an
my
it was like an art, right?
Yeah. One of my funnest jobs I ever got to do was at Pennington Biomedical Research Center. They had this what's called the freezer farm. There must have been, man, you name it, 200 plus deep freeze refrigerators, sub-zero refrigerators for research. And these things put off a lot of heat. So they had increased the amount of freezers into the freezer farm, and the current building air conditioner that was designed for it wasn't keeping up. So we got to add like a 20 or 30-ton water source unit, and so they had the cooling water there. Like this place had chillers right all over the place, monster complex. So we got to add I want to say it was 3-inch copper lines that was going to pull from the chill water loop and send back. So we got to run about, I don't know, 400 something feet of this copper line in the building. And that was a blast. And all of it
Woo.
had to be soft soldered. And I got this, and it sounds like a lot of soldering, but it's not because you got a lot of long sticks, straight
Right.
runs, couple couplings, right? Not the end of the world.
What
It
are you
was a
doing?
lot of
20 foot sticks?
yeah, I mean, man, it's been a long time since I did that job, but yeah, probably so. 20-foot sticks.
Yeah, those are the
And
long ones. Yeah.
yep. And so I remember me and my dad did that job together. My brother was tied in that too. And I remember I did like all the soft solder myself for that job. Like they kind of did the prep, were passing me
Yeah.
pieces, and I got to like solder everything. And I remember my dad telling me, he goes, "If you think you missed a joint,
Right.
hit it again." He was like,
Hit it again.
He's
Yeah.
like, we do not want to leak. He goes, I've
Yeah.
been down this road before. He goes, if we get a leak, it's going to be hell on wheels, and we don't want to mess with
Yeah.
that. He goes,
Yeah.
we do not want to leak, no
Well,
matter what.
Dad was a lot nicer than the first supermarket company that I worked for, bro. Right out of trade
Yeah,
school, this guy scout me, right? So
yeah,
dude, it's like my third job. I pull up on site, and this guy is laying in a supermarket case, right? And like what you're saying, right? You don't want to leak, right?
no
So
leaks.
this guy got in trouble. He got like in super trouble. He was like falling asleep in the van, right? And so the owner was on his ass, right? So I pull up there and I see this old Italian guy, right? And he's looking at him. He goes, "I want that pipe cherry hot, cherry." He's screaming at him, dude, in the middle of the supermarket. It's so funny. So like whenever somebody's like soldering with me, I always I tell him, I'm like, "Get it cherry hot." Dude, that guy was so mad at him. He was, because he caught him sleeping in the van on the job at the supermarket. It was like all supermarket refrigeration stuff. But, dude, old Italian guy, you don't want to get him pissed off,
Yeah, and I think the reason he's saying cherry red So the plumbers that used to work with me, they used to do a lot of medical gas, and so in medical gas, you
Yeah.
can't have what's called. And I could be way off base
Yeah,
here.
you
This
can't
is
be a
not the,
cold
the
solder queen, you know?
well. There's this whole like X-ray game where like your joints have to be pure, meaning like if and when you say solder big pipe, I'm just going to take you down a quick story.
Right. Yeah.
When
Hey,
a
I brought you
plumber,
down one with the old Italian guy.
yeah, when a when a plumber is soldering, say, medical gas,
Hmm.
from what the way I understand it is, and I've only seen this kind of remotely done once. When it's copper on copper and it's big stuff, they have like a rosebud they're hitting it, and
Right.
they're hitting it with a lot of solder, but that copper is almost translucent. And I've done this, I've seen it, and
Right.
it's so translucent that you can literally watch the solder flow in the joint, move
Yeah, buddy.
around in between those coppers.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking hot, and it's got
Bro,
to be cherry red to
if
make
you
that
get
happen.
that thing cherry red, bro, that solder is going in there, man. Like
Yeah,
you're
and you can see
probably
it.
you could probably like solder copper to copper without without the flux. You're like melting it together, bro. It's
Yeah,
like it's
it's
like a
insanely hot,
like a
and they
kiln.
and they can't have any holidays, is what they call it, and it's holidays.
Holidays.
That was like a
Ooh,
nickname
that's
I
like a
think they
southern word. I like that.
that was a nickname they gave it to where if you had a pocket of
Yeah.
area with no solder, that's like a no. That would be a failure for medical
Yeah.
gas. So
Yep.
you can't have any pockets of no solder in the joint. And
Yep.
so it's a lot of welding, man. It's putting copper together on a whole nother level. And
Yeah.
that's pretty fun to watch.
Because if you solder cold, you could tell it has that black oxidation. It just doesn't look right. It look got the little candle
Well,
wax, you know.
we always talk about, like people go to the trades, maybe the trade schools aren't teaching enough, blah 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 blah
Right,
blah, all
right.
that. But I have I have trained a lot of people to weld, and I
Yeah,
will say there is this level of like there is this needs to be important, that needs to be important, but I still think when you're in trade school you should weld a lot.
yeah,
It should almost be like, hey, you come in first 30 minutes a day, go back there and weld something and get very, very comfortable with it.
yeah.
Here's what I would say is the biggest issue I've seen in the trade with younger people coming in and learning how to weld. They would typically have their torch not quite hot enough, and it would be, and they would cap a weld. You know what I mean by cap it?
Yes, yeah,
They would just put a bead of solder right around where the joint
yeah.
meets.
You get that
So
little loopy.
yeah, they wanted to see that like it wasn't all about like let me suck this solder into the joint. It
Right.
was like let me just put a bead right here where they meet, and it's like nah,
Like
man,
a
you want
nice
to get it.
JB Weld, cap on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, nah, you want to get it hotter.
Yeah.
You want to see
Come on.
this. You want to
Cherry
see that
hot.
solder
He was
flow.
screaming at him, dude. I remember like it was yesterday. It was 22 years ago.
Yeah,
Screaming at him.
and it takes time to train people to do this, but
Yeah,
I would
dude.
I would s-
It's
I
an
would
art, man.
I would
It
let them
really
make
is.
their welds, and then I would say, okay, now watch what happens when I put more heat to this. And I would do the same thing, and I would say, now watch this weld. I'm going to
Yeah.
take all that solder that's capped, and now I'm going to suck it
Just
into the joint, and I would kind of weld it and show them like that's
Yep.
the effect that's happening. And
Capillary action, I think they call it.
is
Right?
that what it's called? I mean, you're
Yeah.
probably right. I don't remember.
I
I
don't
just
know,
remember
man.
that's what you wanted.
I just
But
regurgitate information that I read once in a blue moon.
yeah, House makes a really good point. Hell, we should have had House on tonight.
Come on
Direction
now.
of the flame is a learned experience. True that. True
Yeah.
that.
It is. It is. And then you move that flame over. Like I did a filter dryer at that church I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Um
How many times have you soldered 3/8 and then watch it move? When you're trying to
yeah,
weld it up
that's what I
outside
was
of the
just about
condenser.
to say. Yeah, so you
Then
get where those two pieces of copper hit. That's what I like to do. I like to hit and then just move the flame over and then it just pulls
how
it
many
right in,
now?
man.
Now, how many times did your 3/8 pop out on your condenser and you go, dang? And then you're trying to figure
Oh.
out how to put it back together when it's really hot.
That's before I was flowing nitro, buddy. I flow nitro
Yeah, we all
they
been
give
there,
it
man.
that like they give it to me for free. But yeah, bro, when you were talking about the Phosgene story, that's what happened to me. I was sweating something and it boom popped right in my face. Got a
Yeah.
little whiff, little nosebleed. Yeah, it's good.
So
It's exciting.
somebody, Dave, don't know Dave, but nice having you in here. He said it's the Rude UPGB series he pumped. We call it the
UP,
boxcar unit.
the box car. That's awesome.
Now he's got me curious. Let me see if
That's
I can find
awesome,
it.
man.
All right, man.
It's
While
a
I
it's a
search for
beast.
this, we got a few minutes left. We didn't
Yeah,
get no takers on open mic night, and that's okay.
that's all right.
But
That's all right.
let's talk about what's up. What's coming up, man. Next week. You know who's coming in next week?
Who we got?
Nikki Kruger.
All right.
Nikki Kruger. Or Nikki Conway. Nikki's married now. So Nikki
Oh,
Conway.
Nick.
So
Can we do Nikki Kruger Conway?
yeah, you know what
It's
we
like a
should ask?
band.
What do we do with that? Nikki Kruger Conway?
I like that.
It's got a ring
You
to
heard
it.
it here on the grapevine, all right? Nikki Kruger
So
Conway, all right?
she's
That's a
coming on
mouthful.
next week. I for sure will be talking about dehumidifiers. That's going to be fun.
We might. We
Um,
might.
we
I
we
don't know.
might have to bring it in there a little bit, you know,
We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll keep it to the
um,
minimal.
for sure. So hang in there for next week. We got Nikki coming on. I'm sure we're gonna be talking dehumidifiers. If you got a question, lay it down. We got the
Yeah.
lady herself
Yeah.
showing up to come talk.
Yeah. Write your
Uh,
questions down during the week and throw them in the chat,
yeah. Oh,
just in case you forget.
we should probably say for those who aren't coming here from the Facebook group, the HVAC Grapevine, and you just found this channel, awesome. Glad you're here. Just know that if you are looking for a bunch of talented people, not me and Michael, like the real talent, like House
That's
and a
right.
few others, those people live inside the Facebook group and they have their other groups, right? House has his group. Jenner
Yeah.
has Comfort Dynamics. You've got HVAC School. You've got
Yeah.
all these powerhouse groups, man. If you're watching this show and you're like, man, I want to raise the bar for myself. I've gotten this question probably twice in the last 2 weeks. I've had people say, they've called, we've talked building science, and they're like, well, how do I know this? How do I know when to do that? And they're like, hey, where do I go to school for all of this? And I told them, I said, look, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Get in a group, chat it up, ask your questions. Do not be afraid to ask your questions. If you don't ask, you don't know. I said, you will be surprised how many people will jump in and give
Dude,
you
it's
advice.
crazy. The
So
Facebook group is powerful, man. I
it's a
throw
power play.
questions in there all the time, man.
Yep. And it's fun. And you should be in all of them because I like to say they all have a different niche that they play,
Big time.
you know? And so for
Yeah.
that, you don't like, it is kind of like we've talked about, like, could you consolidate it? How do we do that? Blah, blah. We mentioned it a while back, but there's a niche to everyone. Everyone's a little bit different. And
Yeah.
so, it's just, they're all out there, man. You got to play the whole game.
Yeah, those groups are powerful, man. I had guys recently tell me, um, it's just they're looking for confidence in what they're doing, right? So if you throw this, you got something you're not sure about, and when you get it confirmed in a group, you just have a confidence when you go back to the job site. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's nice, man.
It's
Yeah.
powerful, man.
It's a powerful group. And on
Yeah.
that note, man, see you next week.
Later.